Hello, my name is Emma Towers, and I'm going to be talking today about Functional Behavior Assessment, or FBA. There's a common problem in today's schools that there's too much punishment and not enough proactive and preventative behavior. Students are more diverse now than they've ever been before, and teachers are complaining. And it's actually not the student's fault. A lot of teachers say, what happened to the good old days? You could just send a kid home and then they'd come back and be better. They say that they didn't sign up for this and they think their job is just to take care of the academics of the students. But actually, behavior is just as big a part of schools as the academics is. Positive behavior support is all about being proactive and rewarding positive behavior instead of punishing behaviors that you don't want. It is defined as an application of a behaviorally based systems approach to enhance the capacity of schools, families, and communities to design effective environments that improve the link between research-validated practice and the environments in which teaching and learning occurs. The research behind positive behavior support is called applied behavioral analysis, and this means it's basically just an area of scientific study that's supported by 30 years of research confirming the effectiveness of various antecedent and consequence strategies, data collections, graphing, and monitoring. And that's just a fancy way of saying they've tried it and done research on it and graphed it and did their best to put a scientific basis behind it, but every situation is different and nothing is set in stone. So it's more of like a practice than an actual science. The 3 tiers are part of the response to intervention model of dealing with problems. And the first tier is all the students without behavior problems, and this is going to make up about 80 to 90%, and that's indicated by the green at the bottom. The middle is some students, which is students that are at risk for problem behavior, which makes up about 5 to 15%. And then the top is few, which is students with chronic or intense problem behavior, and that's going to be 1 to 7%. It's really important that this model is built this way because the strategies used at the top are not going to work unless there are strong strategies being put in use at the bottom to all the students. So functional behavior assessment really seeks to understand why problem behaviors happen in order to prevent them in an effective way, instead of just punishing every kid with a certain behavior the same way. You can do assessments to figure out why they're acting out and then cater to that need that they have. There's 3 key aspects of functional behavior assessment, and the first one is setting events. So the book explains it really well. It's just to fill in this sentence. So you know it's going to be a bad day when blank. And so you can see patterns of kids' behavior, like if it's a Monday and they came back from a long weekend at home and you notice that they start to act out a lot on Mondays, then that's a good sign that something that happens over the weekend is a setting event for the problem behavior. Triggering antecedents is just the straw that broke the camel's back, so it's the final thing that sets the kid off. And if you can watch out for these, then you can get a good understanding of the problem behavior as well. And then the maintaining consequences are the things that occur after the problem behavior that make it so that the kid does the problem behavior again and again because they know it works. So it's like, what does the student get out of behaving this way? Evaluating a child with FBA, basically you're going to, every school district has probably their own papers, but basically they're just going to describe the behavior that's happening. That's the first part. You have to really be observant and take notes of those setting events and the triggering antecedents, and that'll help you get to the bottom of why. So the worksheet here just lays out the description of the behavior, the settings, and then you start to hypothesize why you think that happens, and then you lay out the behavior plan of what you're going to do to make sure that it doesn't happen again. And it's really important to take good notes on all this stuff. So the main question in all of this is why. And some common answers that you can put on your FBA assessment papers are: 1, to get attention or a reaction from peers and adults; 2, to get something that's tangible; 3, to get power or control; 4, to meet a sensory need; 5, to communicate feelings, wants, and needs; 6, as a result of a lack of understanding; or 7, to escape or avoid something. So all problem behaviors are just ways of communicating these needs. A student maybe can't tell you that they lack understanding because they're embarrassed by that, so they'll act out instead, because that's the easier way for them to communicate that they have a problem. The bottom line of functional behavioral assessment is that it's deeper than what you see on the surface. In most cases, they're trying to tell you about a need that they have that's not getting met. Children that are getting all their needs met and are satisfied just don't misbehave. They just don't. Kids only misbehave if they need something. It's really important that you follow a model for intervention, but instead of just jumping right to punishment. So the first step is to instruct. Once you know what the behavior is and what's causing it, you need to instruct them on appropriate ways to deal with that need instead of the problem behavior that they're showing. And instruction and then prevention are going to work hand in hand. And once you teach them the right way, there's going to need to be a lot of reinforcement of positive behaviors and modeling of the ways that you want the student to deal with the situation. And then you only resort to undesirable consequences if you've instructed them ways to prevent problem behavior and reinforced it and it's still not working. In conclusion, I've learned about functional behavioral assessment that it's really student-centered and it's sensitive and it's different for every situation, which is what I love about it, because it's not just a one-size-fit-all, send the kid home if they're being bad. It's actually trying to meet all their needs, and no matter how they've communicated to you that need. The end.